Hey guys, so a lot of you know that I'm not much of a gear guy, so to speak. I kind of like dialing in a tone or two that I really like and kind of just using that for everything. Generally speaking, that's what I've done in the past, but I kind of wanted to expand from that a little bit, and I wanted to have a little bit more of a diverse sound and have some more effects, so I just decided to try some stuff out. I found this new plugin called Bias FX2, and I've been using it for the last week, and gotta say, pretty freaking impressed with it. So I want to show you some stuff with it. I pre-recorded a few things and I just want to take a look at it. First of all, let's turn it off and let's look at what we got here. I got a slap track and dry soloed. It sounds like this. Like I said, I'm not the biggest gear guy, so I always like going to presets and kind of noodling around with those and seeing what I can get. There's a lot of different genres of tones, both for guitar and bass. There's a little bass section down here, and I want to show you a few that I think are pretty cool. So let's look at some of these presets. Let's just start with this one right here, Love Life. First of all, let's just hear how it sounds. Okay, so if you look at right up here, it gives you a full effects chain. It has compression, has drive pedal, and it has a GK head, it has a GK cab, compression, and a lot of times they have one of these right here. See how this is kind of grayed out? That means it's something that maybe they think would be cool, but they didn't want to put it in the chain, but they wanted to kind of show you that like it could be there. So if you just pull it down like that, see, this is cloner. So you take that off. So when I look at these presets, something that I like to do is I like to kind of play around with them a little bit and see like I like a lot of things about this. Maybe I'm not the biggest fan of the reverb in this situation. Let's try turning that down a little. I do like a little bit of reverb on my slap. I think it gives it a little bit, especially the muting and the plucks, gives it a little bit of a more of a click to it. But if you wanted to have the reverb a little higher, I like it lower than it was, but if you want to have, you can turn the decay down. And that makes it, when you cut it off, it makes it, the reverb die a lot faster. Or you could just take the reverb off altogether. Sounds pretty good in itself. And there's a number of cool things you could do with this stuff. Like, let's click on the cab really quick. The GK bass, it has this mic right here, which is an MD421, and it has it right in the middle of the speaker. But you can move it around and get a little bit of a different sound with it. Or you could try a different mic, like SM57. That's one of the most popular mics in the industry. So you get a much rounder sound if you have it way off to the side. You can kind of see the outline of the speaker there, but if you have it right over, it's a much more like trebly kind of sound. And of course, if you click on the head, you got the EQ. So I like my stuff kind of bassy. I like the mids up too. Let's say that you like the reverb on it, but you don't like this particular reverb. You could take that off. You can go to add right here, and you see there's a bunch of different pedals. There's noise gate, compressor, boost, drive, distortion, EQ, modulation, delay, and reverb. And there's other reverbs, like you could have a digital reverb. You could put that earlier in the chain. So that's like a hall reverb. That's like really, really big, but you could turn it down. And something like this is a little bit easier to understand, like length. You could have it, there's the cut, or you could have the length be really long. See how there's a bigger tail at the end there? Let's try another preset. Let's do Black Coffee. So this is a very similar sound. If you listen though, it has this effect on it, which you can take off if you want that little thing. Great impression, huh? It's almost like a little bit of a flanger or something. You could turn the intensity of it way up. You could turn the speed of it way up. If you really want to get trippy, or you could, if you want, you could turn it off and you could see what else they have. And this thing is just packed with cool little toys. You got chorus pedals, you got phasers, cloner, flangers, phaser, modulator, rotary, you got tremolo. Got a lot of fun stuff you can play around with. Now, one of the cool things about something like this is you can kind of, if you're not the most experienced or knowledgeable person when it comes to how effects change works, I'm not, you can, by looking through the presets, you can get an idea of how a lot of these things work. So let's take this one, for example. Let's go to Kill Bass. You can take a look, listen to it. So my biggest complaint about this when I hear it right off the bat is I think with this preset, it's missing some low end, but something that's cool about this is you can go to the EQ, and like generally with something like this, the left side's the low end, right side's the high end, the middle is the mids. So if I want to boost the low end a little, I can turn this up a little. And you have a much rounder sound. Now, let's look at something like this. There's this tone I found, Super Comped Cleaner. Let's listen to it for just a sec. So when I hear that tone, I think something kind of like Mark King level 42. It's not a bad sound by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not really my kind of sound. It's not the sound that I look for in my personal tone. But just because one of these presets might sound one way for a certain style, like slap, you could always try it for something different like fingerstyle. Let's look at the fingerstyle version. So let's just listen to that dry really quick. Okay, so that's kind of the tone I'm getting out of the fingerstyle playing. So let's turn that back on, and let's go back to that one we were just looking at a second ago. Where was it? Super Comped Clean. So that's automatically right off the bat a much different sound. So in my fingerstyle playing, I generally think that reverb makes it a little bit too muddy, so I might take the reverb off for that. And I'm not so sure that I like the head with this one, so let's check this out. I think the problem is that the Gallien-Kruger has a much more like clanky sound to it, a much more metallic sound. So if I wanted to try a different cab, see this is a 4x10 cab, let's say I wanted to try one speaker. So I like that sound a lot more. So if you go here to factory and then you go down to bass, you have all these different styles that you can try. Let's just try something random. That's cool. And something cool is that when you change the head, see how when I click this, when I do this one, it changes the cab too. It chooses the cab that's supposed to match for that. So like this gives you, there's your Gallien-Kruger sound, or you could do something like this that gives you a much different sound. And you know, just because we're playing bass here doesn't mean that we have to be limited to the bass section. We could go down to like acoustic. Let's try this. 80s New Age. Let's see how this sounds. So that's cool. I think the reverb's way, way, way too hot there. So let's just take the reverb off. So that has kind of like a chorus effect on it. And I think the chorus might be a little too strong for this tone. So let's try it now. So maybe the chorus isn't even right for the sound. Maybe just something simple. Look at this, an acoustic guitar amp, acoustic guitar head with an EQ pedal. Let's see how this sounds. Sounds pretty good to me.
Basically, the reason why I've been into this one specifically is because they have a 50% off sale going on right now. I think it's just lasting through the holidays, but I mean, the base package is just $50. I mean, that's just a killer deal for something like this.